Superman. The name represents hope, truth, justice, and the American way. But lately, has it meant anything even close to that? James Gunn is promising a return to form for his new Superman movie.
I felt a shitload of pressure at the beginning. People know I was offered Superman years ago. I said no because I didn't know quite how to tackle it. How could I create a Superman that's true to the character of Superman, that absolutely loves the character of Superman, and yet is a take on Superman that's different enough that it's worth, making a big budget movie about it.
Well, Jimmy, this version of Superman really needs to be great. I don't mean that it needs to be a critical darling or be nominated for Oscars. It needs to be great the way that the Superman movie from 1978 was great. Do you remember how you felt after you first saw Superman with Christopher Reeve? And whether you're someone who's old enough to have seen it originally in the theaters or someone whose parents sat you down and watched the movie with you, it's probably an experience you'll always remember. Chances are, after seeing this film, you immediately grabbed a towel and used it as a cape and pretended to be the guy you just saw flying through the air and keeping us safe from the bad guys. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you were most likely inspired and in awe of a genuine superhero. Nowadays, that magic is gone. Sure, you can argue there's magic in the special effects in damn near every movie we see now, but is that really even special anymore? We've been desensitized to all the CGI stuff. We all believe a man can fly now because we've seen it a million times. The magic that is gone is the simple act of being immersed in a story and living vicariously through the characters you see on the screen. That's what was given to us with Superman the movie. Yeah, the effects were ahead of its time back then, but more importantly, we rooted for Clark Kent. We wanted him to smack that douchebag at the football practice. It was devastating when Pa Kent dropped dead. You may still well up when Clark says goodbye to his mom before heading north. All of this happens before the actual Superman shows up. There were no gratuitous effects, no wacky attempts at humor and sappy one-liners. It was just being invested in the characters we've met and the story that was beginning. Now we've gone from that to let's see how much destruction we can muster up and inflate our budget. The Man of Steel is a perfect example of how to butcher the idea behind what made Superman great to begin with. I have nothing against Henry Cavill. The guy looked the part, even if the material didn't serve him well, but he sure as shit did not embody the role of Clark Kent in Superman. Not entirely his fault. It was written, produced, and directed by people who apparently thought their way was the right way. It was not. We basically see Clark Kent being a badass without a cape. Now where's the fun in that? Christopher Reeve was able to beautifully portray two different people. It was entertaining to see Clark stumble around, be nervous around people, unable to open a bottle. All these derp moments were charming and endearing. You see how he interacts with the people he meets and how he is treated, both good and not so good. It was necessary to keep the two characters completely different. Who's gonna really care after a while about a guy who's basically indestructible saving the day all the time? We do care when we know the person wearing a cape and what he's really about. When we know he's invested in the people he's met and just generally tries to see the good in humans, it makes it easy to root for him and watch him save the day. The Henry Cavill Zack Snyder version of Superman was just an overpowered badass. In Man of Steel, there was barely any relationship building. There were a few moments with Clark and his parents, but they forced the whole Lois and Clark romance down our throat. No build to it, hardly any interaction between the two, and then at the end of the movie, we're supposed to believe that they're madly in love with each other. It was cheap and it felt like an afterthought. That movie, and so many other movies in this type of genre, seem to sacrifice those relationships in favor of CGI-heavy, look at what all this money the studio gave us can do type of scenes. I think it's safe to say that now, audiences are tired of that shit. We've been there, done that. So now we have to put our faith in James Gunn. He has said that this Superman will be about the basic kindness of human beings and will be a moral call to embrace decency and optimism. Well, that's a relief to hear. It sounds like he's going to respect the character and the history of Superman. Now, I'm not a comic book guy, never read one in my life, so I can't tell you whether or not Gunn bastardized the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. What I can tell you, as a normie is that I like those movies, especially the Guardians trilogy. He spent time and allowed us to learn about each of the main characters on an individual level. He injected humor. Not all of the jokes hit the mark, but it was better than anything else Marvel has done in years. More importantly, James Gunn does seem to understand that the steak is more important than the sizzle. Now, how will that translate into the new movie? We've had a sneak peek, which only showed Soups, his dog, and some robots. So that doesn't really tell us anything. We've had the first trailer, which shows a whole lot in a small amount of time. At least it looks like we'll be getting a Clark Kent who is trying to hide his identity as Superman. In the trailer, Clark appears to be a little clumsy, and he is wearing glasses and whatever the fuck that is on his head. So that does give me some hope. And it looks like Lois and Superman may actually know each other a little bit in this version. The bottom line is that I think James Gunn is treating Superman the way fans are hoping for. You can tell in his interviews with him that he's taking it seriously and putting his passion into it. And he needs to, by the way. The new DCU under his helm is basically riding on this movie. If it turns out to be just the same old trash we've seen for years now, his ass is grass. I hope this is a start of bringing these movies back to what made them great at first. Give us characters to root for. Give us stories that we care about and that actually make sense.
You know what I want. I've been asking for it for years. You're going to give me what I want.
If you can succeed at that, then keep it up. The audience is there, but we've been burned quite a bit lately. So forgive us if we're maybe just a little cautiously optimistic only right now. All right, I gotta go. The old lady's back in town from her girls' weekend, whatever that means, and I gotta go pick her ass up now.
What the hell's that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.